Today I'm going to show you how to clean out a carburetor. This is my 21mm Motorforce racing carb that I have for my Peugeot Speed 5120cc. As you can see, I've still got the foam filter on here. I've taken out the slider already, obviously because it's part of the bike and the throttle cable. I'm just going to show you how to take it apart now and give it a bit of a clean. I personally use a bit of the air intake and carburetor cleaner. It's just very easy to use, and as you'll see from the nozzle on it and the way that it sprays, it's got a lot of pressure, so it actually can clean and blow away all bits of dirt that's on the outside. I've already given this bit of a once over. As you can see, it cleans it up quite well, as long as you ain't got too much crap or tar on there. So I'll just take off the bottom bowl now. Take off my power PWK jet pipe. Now on my carburetor I've only got 2 screws, some have 4. Be careful that you don't round the heads on these. They're not exactly the easiest thing to be replacing. Now you have the inside of my float bowl. The float itself, you've got the fuel stop needle, which is here, which is attached to the float bowl. So depending on the height of this and the angle that it's at, it will allow fuel in depending on how full the bowl is. So as it fills up, this obviously raises, and when it gets to a certain fill point, the fuel stops coming in. You can find that if your carb is continuously allowing fuel to just be pumped out all over the place, you may find that this is actually being lowered too much and it's continuously letting fuel in, which can cause you a lot of problems and flood your bike and not run very well. Now that I'm at this stage, the first thing I want to do is just make sure that I can actually see that nothing is damaged, it's all functioning fine. Be careful of the pin that goes through for your float, because it does just fall out and it's rather annoying. So now I'm just going to give it a little bit of a spray with the carb cleaner. So yeah, it's very powerful with the carb cleaner. Gets rid of any residue or any crap that's in there that you definitely don't want. What I tend to do, just because it's the easiest, sometimes I do clean my jets through, but for me now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but if you look down through where the slider goes, you should be able to see the hole straight through my atomizer and my jet, and that looks perfectly clean to me and perfectly fine. I clean this rather often, so I shouldn't have any issues. The one thing that you need to be making sure of is that you haven't got too much gunk or any crap around your seals, which I unfortunately do. Try and just get rid of some of it here, but I mean, it won't cause too much of an issue, but you just don't want it building up. There's quite a bit of crap in there. I'll give it a bit of a spray. I mean, the last thing you want is a load of residue at the bottom of your float bowl. That will cause you a lot of issues. filter off for you so we can have a look at the inlet size. Yeah, you can see on here it's all perfectly clean, there's no issues or anything. I mean, if you really want to, you can clean it through, give it a bit of a spray. I mean, you're only going to be making the throttle, sure the throttle body and everything's fine. I mean, ultimately, where your slider goes and stuff, you shouldn't really get much residue build up, unless you have a problem with your seal that goes on the top of here. But as far as that goes, it's pretty clean, to be honest. The only other things that you can check for, if you get a bit more serious, is you can take inside of the carb apart, to actually take out, I believe, the entire bottom half of this and replace it if needed. I mean, obviously you've got your idle jet here, I believe that's what it is, and you have your PWK jet, which is here, and from what you can see here in the throat bowl, is that when this is sat, this way around, sorry, that when fuel gets, obviously, is always normally going to be above this level, but when fuel's here and there's enough vacuum from your moped or whatever you're driving, it'll actually pull it up through the pipe through into here and then start spraying a mist in through the inlet. It's almost like how a NOS kit works when you get to a certain RPM with an activator, but this just works on air pressure. But that's pretty much it, to be honest. If you regularly do it, you'll keep your carb clean and you won't have any problems with block jets and such. And it's always good to just make sure, because I mean, the longer you leave it, the worse it's going to run, and you're only going to have problems. Now if I just place this back in, you need to be just very careful, because this pin here actually has to slide underneath where the float bowls are, and then you need to get this pin for the idle jet into this bottom, and you need to make sure that the gasket isn't moved in any way when you do that. Then just replace the piping for the PWK jet, and there you are, you're fine and done. Just place your screws back on, turns it all up. Because you're cleaning with a carb cleaner, it doesn't matter so much, you can put it straight back on. Make sure that you just take off your vacuum pipe and give that a couple of sucks to make sure that the carb gets filled with fuel before you try and start it again, and you'll be perfectly fine. And that's how you clean out a racing carb.